Good morning, everybody. I'm Neelu Motammed. I'm the editor-in-chief of Food and Wine, and I'm here to congratulate all of you for getting your asses out of bed and coming to this amazing seminar. So what I'm so psyched about is that we are here celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Food and Wine Classic at Aspen. Can I get a really big round of applause? Right here, all of us are really the luckiest people on the planet to be at this festival, to be enjoying this unbelievable weather, and to be carrying on this legacy of this phenomenal experience that only 5,000 people a year get to experience. So cheers to you. Give yourselves a round of applause. Okay, so I can't even believe how lucky I get to be today because I get to introduce somebody who means the world to me. Gail Simmons and I have known each other for 17 years, maybe almost 18 years, and she is one of my absolute favorite humans on the planet. And I know you guys all know her from the fact that she is incredibly powerful on TV, and she's an author, and she's an all-around food luminary. But the thing about her, and I think maybe one of her biggest accomplishments, is being an incredible friend. So I know, go it, yeah, it's true. No, it's really true. So literally anybody you ask, from New York to Toronto, LA to Aspen, and you tell them Gail Simmons, people just, they just coo, they swoon, they say, she is the nicest, she's the most humble, she's the most down to earth, she's so smart, and how is it possible that she's on TV all the time and she just acts like all the rest of us? And that is who Gail is. She is somebody who will drop everything to come and help you. She literally, when I'm out of town, she and her husband will call up my husband and say, hey, do you want to come over to our house for dinner? I know you might be lonely. I mean, she literally is beyond. I have a lot of things to say about her, so just give me a sec. So something that you might not know about her is that Gail actually started her food and wine career, even though she's right now our special projects editor, running this very festival. So she has a deep, deep connection to this place. So you're going to have to give her extra love because it's kind of a homecoming for her every time she comes back to the festival. Now, if you haven't read her memoir, Talking with My Mouth Full, please do, because it's quintessential Gail. It's insightful, charming, hilarious. Hang on, next page, please hold. I mean, I never do a 2-page intro. Gail Simmons is very special. And big news, this fall she has a cookbook coming out, her first one, and it's called Bringing It Home, and it's inspired by all of the talented cooks and chefs. Okay, we're gonna have to make sure these people know we're having more fun than they are, because that's ridiculous, that she's met along the way. So you all know that she lays down the law on Bravo's Top Chef as one of the judges, and this weekend, right now, Top Chef 15 is shooting their finale right here in Aspen. So all of her worlds are colliding here. So I couldn't be luckier to be here to introduce the amazing Gail Simmons. Let's give her the world's biggest Food and Wine Classic at Aspen welcome.
Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. Give me, I'm worth it. Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it.
Oh my God, can you hear me? I'm a little rough around the edges. It's early, so can you hear me? You can hear me. Because there's only 7 of you, so it's perfect. Good morning. Hi. Welcome to the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. Neelu Motammed, everybody. Our extraordinary, fearless leader. You know what's the best feeling in the world? When your super smart, amazing friends are hugely succeeding and changing the world. Yeah. This one. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We're gonna cook. So this is my 12th year at the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. What Neelu said was right. For 5 years, I got to run around with a walkie-talkie and help manage and direct this festival, which was pretty much the greatest job of my life. And now I still get to be here, and I still have an okay job, but there is nothing more special for me than coming back every June to Aspen and to participating with all these extraordinary chefs. Should we, by the way, say good morning to Andrew Zimmern? Because he's right there, and he's one of my favorite people too. So on the count of 3, okay? 1, we're gonna say good morning, Andrew, just so we're clear. Okay. Hi, welcome. Come on in. Don't worry, lots of room. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, Andrew. He might be rude about it, I don't know. He's jealous because you guys are here. So I've been spending a lot of time in Colorado, actually. Yes. Are there any Colorado natives here? Who lives in Colorado? Besides my close friend Emily, who I pay to tell everyone that. No. Yes, a lot of Coloradans, Coloradoans, what do you say? Native Coloradans. I am not one of those. I'm a native Canadian, which is also awesome. Thank you very much. But I have spent the last 6 weeks actually in Colorado. I live in Brooklyn, but Top Chef is filming our 15th season here in the state of Colorado, and we're just finishing it up in Aspen, which is incredible. It's like my universe is colliding. So I've been in Colorado for 6 weeks. We've been traveling all over the state, and the one thing that has been extraordinary to come out of it is that I have been able to taste and experience so much of the beautiful produce and meats and local artisanal products that Colorado produces. So that inspired me to do this demo, and I'm really lucky that the Colorado Tourism Board was tourism office was able to provide me with some of the most beautiful fresh spring produce so I can make you guys a really delicious lunch. So I'm using 4 Colorado ingredients today that literally some of them are from not 3 miles from here. I mean, farms in Basalt, in Carbondale. Thank you very much. I'm going to do that too. Both. Which one is this one?
This one's right up here.
There we go. Thank you very much. This is Colfax, everybody. He's the bomb. Thank you very much. So I'm using, of course, beautiful Colorado lamb. This is a leg of lamb from Crystal River Meats, which is an extraordinary, sustainable farm, lamb and beef farm right here. I'm also, with the lamb that I'm going to grill today, making smashed potatoes, which is one of my favorite things to eat. And we're using these extraordinarily beautiful Harvest Moon potatoes, which, if you have a chance to come see them, are this beautiful deep purple color. But when you cut into them, you get kind of a surprise. So we'll see that in a minute. And they're creamy and they're amazing and they're perfect for smashing. Not mashing, smashing. There's a difference. And then I'm using these delicious cherries because it's cherry season right here from Cocopelli Farms. And you don't get to eat them. I do, because I will eat every one and be covered in red juice. And finally, I'm using this extraordinary goat cheese from Avalanche Farms. And I think the farmers are here today. Is that true? If you're here, will you just say hi? Thank you so much. Because these are people who spend their livelihoods giving us the best produce that you can imagine. And these are people who take time to really craft the most quality ingredients and also raise the most sustainable, healthy animals and grow the most beautiful, ripe, organic produce. And so these are the people we need in our food system right now. On that note, I'm going to make some food. So I said I'm going to make some leg of lamb. This is a leg of lamb. It's been butterflied, so it comes sort of tightened up. It's the leg right here. You can't see me, but right here. And when it comes, you can actually ask your butcher to butterfly it, but it's also actually very easy to do. You take a very sharp boning knife, which I'm sure we have here. Well, you can use something like this, or even a chef's knife. And you make a long lateral slice through the meat, and it folds open like a flap, and this is your leg of lamb. The first thing I'm going to do with it is marinate it. I'm going to put it right here for a sec. And I'm going to make a marinade. Now, the leg of lamb, you can braise a leg of lamb really beautifully, but you can also grill it really quickly. And because we have these gorgeous grills, and it's the summertime, and this is what we all want to be doing, I'm going to make a really simple marinade. I'm going to show you a little trick. I have tons of fresh mint, finely chopped garlic, big pinch of chili flakes, which, of course, if you don't want heat, you don't need to add. Some zest, lemon zest, and lots of lemon juice right here. And I'm going to whisk it together a little bit, and I'm going to pour in some oil. This is beautiful Greek olive oil, by the way. It smells incredible. I was coveting it earlier. And I'm gonna just pour in a little bit of oil. This doesn't have to be a full emulsion. It doesn't have to be a fancy dressing because it's gonna be the marinade, but all of these flavors are gonna get right into your lamb. And what I'm actually gonna do is reserve some of this and turn it into a dressing, so you only have to make it once. And these flavors are gonna penetrate into the lamb, and then they're also, of course, going to be separated out later, and I'm gonna use part of it for a sauce. So I'm just gonna take out a few tablespoons of it so that I can dress the sauce and the smashed potatoes. Now, the one thing I didn't do is season this dish. I don't wanna put salt in the marinade because that will extract the juices from the actual muscle of the lamb. The marinade I want to penetrate in. I don't want to take anything out. So I'm going to separate out this for later, and I will season this because this is going to be the sauce dressing. So some fresh pepper, some salt, and you can give that a mix, and I'll come back to that later. But this becomes the marinade for the meat. And that's going to get poured right over. Can you guys see me? Also, by the way, this is interactive. You can talk, don't talk over me. Talk at me and with me. But if anyone has a question about obviously what I'm doing up here, but also about whatever it is, Top Chef, Food and Wine, my life, what I eat for breakfast. It's super boring, but I'm happy to answer it. Thank you, sir. You can take that too, and I'm gonna give you these. And then you're just gonna take your lamb, and you want to make sure that it all gets marinated together like this so that it's covered really nicely. And you're going to leave that to soak up all that beautiful lemon juice and chili peppers and the fresh mint, which I love. The mint, of course, is a classic pairing with lamb. But this is sort of a fresh mint. It's not the traditional. This is a really summery preparation. And if you have fresh herbs in your garden or obviously sitting in your fridge that might go to waste, this is a great place to use them. I'm gonna give you this too because it touched the lamb. And you can throw everything in. You know, I don't like people to get too stuck in recipes. This recipe, I believe, will be on the Food and Wine website after this if you want it. But don't get too stuck in the measuring of ingredients, especially for something like a marinade. If you have chives, if you have tarragon, if you have fresh basil, any tender herb would be great here. I love mint because it's summery and it goes great with lamb, but you can't really go wrong. And that is the same with a lot of the ingredients that I'm doing today. If you want to substitute, obviously there is some science to cooking, but truthfully with the flavoring, feel free to pair it with whatever you want. I'm actually going to use this lamb. So you're going to let this marinate. Now you can marinate it for as long as you want, really. I say if you want to cook it quickly, let it sit at room temperature for a half an hour to an hour, just right out on the counter. Don't be afraid. It won't go bad. It's okay if it's cold when you take it out of the fridge to first use it and you let it sit for 45 minutes. You want your meat to be room temperature when you cook it. If you want to marinate it for longer, let's say you want to do this the night before, you can put it in the fridge, chill it for 4 hours, marinating, covered, or even overnight. But same rule applies. When you bring it out of the fridge, let it sit at room temperature for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, so that the meat comes up to temperature. Otherwise, it's going to be cold when you put it on the grill, and it won't cook evenly. So on that note, let's pretend, through the magic of television, that this has been marinating. I'm going to take it out of this marinade. Thank you, sir. And here's where the seasoning comes in. Here's where I'm going to just season it with salt and pepper, generously, liberally. You know, people always ask me, by the way, about this move. You guys know about this move? Pretty sure, I don't know, Bobby Flay perfected this move way back when. This is starting to singe my arm hair, but I'm into it. I mean, you want it hot. You want it hot. There we go. So it's actually purposeful. When you see chefs seasoning with salt and pepper from up here, they kind of look like idiots, but it's the best way to distribute your seasoning evenly. If I were to go like this, you're just gonna get salt in that little area. You wanna go like this, and then it gets all over the place. And then you wanna, of course, season the other side too. Oop. Because we don't have soap. There we go, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much, Colfax. This is kosher salt. Generally for cooking, I like kosher salt. I use Diamond kosher salt or Morton's. The great thing about kosher salt is that it's really balanced. The grains are consistent, and they're coarse enough that you can feel them in your hand. When you use fine sea salt when you're seasoning, it's really hard to gauge how much you're using. So you sort of want a coarse salt, but not a fancy, expensive salt. You know, you can buy a giant box of this, and I mean, apparently he brought his own trumpet player. Damn him. So, you know, for everyday cooking, kosher salt is the way to go on everything I do. I also always keep a nicer salt, a finishing salt that they call. I mean, come on. Simmer down over there. You know, a Malden salt, a really beautiful, flaky, more expensive salt that I will use to finish a dish at the end of a dish, but I would never use that for cooking. It's just too expensive. That's a waste of money. So this is piping hot. And you want it piping hot. You want to hear that sizzle, and I'm gonna just put it right on the grill, just like that. Can I give this to you, sir?
Absolutely.
Thank you. That smoke's a good sign, obviously. And this is I want this to be medium rare. It can get tough if you cook it much longer. About 6-7 minutes per side. It really depends on the thickness of your meat. I tell you these numbers, but you have to always take them with a grain of salt, pun intended, because it's really about touching it, feeling it. Don't be afraid to get all up in its grill. Also, pun intended. That actually wasn't even intended. I mean, I'm just a cheese ball today. But you know, pay attention to it. And that's sort of the best way to know when it's ready. And then, of course, it's a little bit subjective. So I want to put a little bit of oil on these. Do we have a little brush to do so?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll see if I can grab one real quick.
I'm also going to grill some lemons. It can take a little more, actually. Oh, I like this knife better, sorry. I'm going to grill some lemons to go with it. I love charring citrus. There's sort of, thank you, that's perfect. 2 reasons to char citrus. Why I like it, first of all, it gives it a bit of a smoky flavor, which is delicious. And the warmer citrus gets, the more the meat of the lemon or the citrus, whatever you're using, loosens up a little bit, and you can get every ounce and every droplet of juice out of there. So I'm just going to brush my lemons with a little bit of oil. Can even put a little bit pinch of salt on them, and they're going to go right on the grill too. Actually, they can go right here. And you can do this with lime. I love making a charred lime vinaigrette. I char oranges or grapefruits, put them in margaritas. Lots of great uses. And then I'm actually just going to brush some of this oil over here, and I'm taking a Vidalia onion that I've sliced into rings right here, and I'm going to grill it a bit too, caramelize those onions. Super simple, and they're going to go great with the lamb. Let's make sure this guy's hot. Let's turn him right up. There we go. Now, while this is all cooking, I'm just going to take a look here. You want those beautiful grill marks. That's great. I'm going to give it one more minute. Yeah, please. Thank you. And while that's happening, I'm going to move to my smashed potatoes. Now, I said I'm using these beautiful Harvest Moon potatoes. They're purple. But when you cut them in half, they're this amazing, deep, deep, creamy yellow color. And they're really beautiful. And I love making smashed potatoes because I love a creamy mashed potato, but I also love the skin and the crispy bits. Generally, in all cooking, you want the crispy bits. You know what I mean? Like, never, ever waste a crispy bit, or you have to leave. Like, not interested. Because that's the best part. I mean, that's kind of the whole reason that you put anything on a grill, right? Or smash them. So I've boiled a bunch of these potatoes whole, and I'm going to show you a little trick about them. I learned recently in writing my book, Nilu mentioned I'm in the middle of writing a cookbook. It comes out October 24th, and it's called Bringing It Home. Thank you. It has certainly been a labor of love. I literally handed in the final laid out pages yesterday. No joke. Yesterday. From here. So what's happening? It will go to print. And I make a version of these smashed potatoes in the book, and I actually do a salt and vinegar version because I'm Canadian and we love salt and vinegar chips. And we love vinegar on any kind of potato. But the thing I learned when making them is after you've boiled a potato, for mashing or smashing or anything, even baking, you can do this if you want to, after baking them, put them in iced salted water. Hi there. dip them for just a minute when they're still hot in a bowl of ice water that you've put about a tablespoon of salt into. You know what, these aren't that hot anymore, so I can pick them up. And when you do, just leave them for literally 30 seconds in this salty water. Pass me my towel, please, Amy. This is Amy. She's also awesome. Let me just tell you one thing about the Classic in Aspen, because when I'm going to sidetrack for a sec. Thank you. I see that. That's incredible that I see that. The Classic in Aspen feels super smooth and easy, but there is a full-time team of people working on this festival all year round. There's 5 people in the New York office. There's Dev Inc., which is the operations team that runs it here all year round. And then this weekend, there are 700 volunteers from the town of Aspen, plus an enormous culinary team, an ops crew that make this thing happen. And we could not do it without them. So thank you guys for everything. I'm gonna flip this guy right there, beautiful. You got that crusty, delicious char on the top. And that's gonna go for another 5 minutes or so. Can you give me a 5-minute heads up, people? Because I'm gonna get talking and then lose my place. But that's looking good. So I've taken these out of the cold water and I can just pat them dry. And then if they're really big, you can cut them in half. Don't peel them. The skin is nutritious and super crispy and delicious. So I'm just gonna, pat them dry just gently. And then I'm gonna smash them, which is kind of part of the fun. And if you have kids at home, like my daughter loves this part because it's destructive, pretty much. You can cut them in half if you want, if they're big. And then using a towel, or you can just do it on your cutting board, just take the heel of your hand. Sometimes you can use a ramekin if you want to, but I say have a little fun with it. Squish it down. And it comes out looking like this. Fun, right? Super easy. I'm just gonna do it like this because you don't really need the towel anymore. There you go. Pick it up, and I'm just gonna put them on a baking sheet. You can even do them whole if you want really big, sort of like Flintstone size, which are great too, because they're gonna get so crispy in the oven and delicious. This is what they look like. And then I'm just gonna take a brush. Let me give you this cool fact if you don't mind. Thank you. I'm gonna take a brush with some melted butter, because there's pretty much nothing better in the universe than melted butter. Again, if you argue, you have to leave. And I'm just gonna baste them right here with a little bit of melted butter. And then I'm gonna season them with some salt, some fresh pepper, and then I'm gonna do the other side as well. Thank you. Would you also turn the lemons for me? You probably can take them off, actually. Gorgeous, yeah, that's great. Take them right, just put them right there. Some pepper, and then of course I'll flip them, baste them with butter, salt and pepper on the other side, and put them right into the oven. Ooh, this oven's super hot. I'm gonna do this one. Perfect. Now the best part is they crisp up so beautifully in the oven. You want to leave them there, thank you so much, for about 30 to 40 minutes, because you really don't worry. That sounds like a long time after you've already cooked them, but you want the crispy bits, crispy bits. If you take nothing away from my seminar today, you take away the crispy bits. Yes? Okay. Watch your back. Thank you, guys. And here they are. I mean, how beautiful are these crispy bits? These are going to be. Well, you need to fly to Colorado, pick some of these up. How's this feeling? Good. I think it can. Yeah, a minute or two.
A little bit more.
Yeah. If you can't use these, you know what are great? Those beautiful summer red bliss potatoes, or small new beige brown skin potatoes, which do really well. You know what I discovered when I was making my book? We wanted to use the more Peruvian purple potatoes. I feel like I'm in the smoke right now. That are purple on the inside. And when we did it with them, it actually didn't work that well because they're a drier, starchier potato, and they fell apart when I was cooking. But those beautiful red bliss potatoes, if you can't get the Harvest Moons, you could also absolutely do this with a russet or a Yukon potato. The same as you would make a baked potato or a mashed potato. So I have these. I'm gonna take my meat off the grill. Where can I put my meat? Because I want to slice it a little bit. There we go. Thank you. This should be done. Thank you very much. Now what you're going to do with this is let it rest. People talk about that all the time. Yes, sir.
What was the oven set at for the potatoes?
Oh, 425. Hot.
All right.
Smoking.
Second question.
Yes.
Is this to gauge the doneness of meat?
Sure. People always ask for numbers, and I hate giving numbers, as I said before, because everyone's flame is different. We can put that right here. Except.
I'm going to put it onto the cutting board for you.
Okay, great idea. Oh, there's one there. Great, thank you. I'm also going to take a plate. Where's the platter? Can I grab this from you? The doneness of meat is about practice, touching and feeling your meat. That sounds kind of creepy, actually. But it's the truth. There's no other way to kind of learn what's done and what's not done. And in culinary school, I learned this trick that sounds silly, but it actually really works and helps me. We can all do it together. It's a little exercise, and then you feel like you've worked out today. So they used to tell us, put your hand up like this. Come on. I can see you. It's a strain, like your makeup, but really loose, soft, no tension. And feel right in there. So you'll feel how soft that is right in there. That's rare. That's what rare should feel like when you touch your meat. Make a fist and touch it right here. And that's what medium rare should be. And then touch the tip of your nose, that cartilagey, hard, firm. That's well done. Don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you. So that's sort of like crib notes, whatever they call it in this country, on how to cook your meat. I kind of like it somewhere between this awkward motion and this right here. And we're going to hope that that's what this is right now. Now, if I had a lot more time, which I don't, I'd let this rest, which is very important to soak up those juices, because you don't want to start slicing and all the juices just run out because they're so relaxed in the muscle. I would probably let that rest 10, 15 minutes. Don't worry, it won't cool down. In fact, the temperature is going to rise, and it's going to continue cooking for a few minutes. But I don't have that much time, so I'm just going to slice it up. Can I do this over here? Oh, yeah, because you guys can see them right there. Another note, you want to slice it against the grain. People say that all the time, but it's very easy, and that's also what's going to make it the most tender cut. You can see that the grain is running this way across the meat. So I'm going to cut it perpendicular, totally opposite. And see that? This is good. This is exactly how you want it. And that's going to be the best way to get the most tender cut of meat right there. This could have stayed on for a little longer. Let's see, I'm going to cut this piece a little bit. There we go. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to slice this up. Let's see, one more slice. And then I can put it all together. I have my beautiful smashed potatoes over here. And I'm making this sort of like big family style. You can obviously do it individually and slice on your plate a little bit different. But this is, summer grilling outdoor food. My onions, I have my lamb, and it's all gonna come together right there. And then remember I set aside that dressing earlier that I already seasoned with salt and pepper so beautifully. This is gonna go right on top. I need a little space. Can I get in there, Amy, for a second? Thank you so much. Running out of counter space here. Spoon. You can take that beautiful dressing that you made with all that fresh mint, and it can go right over top, like that. And also on the potatoes. You can finish it all with a little bit of salt. This is a good opportunity to use that fancy Malden salt if you have it. Thank you. And if you don't, kosher salt works great too. Just a little bit to finish, as they say. And we've got dinner or lunch. Yeah. Tasty. All right, the lemons. Thank you. Beautiful. That's good. I like to just kind of pile them up and let people squeeze it on as much as they want. And I'm going to chew my meat first. The acid in the lemon is so good. It brings it all together. It's really delicious with the lamb. And so that's your summer dinner. Good? Okay. One down. Now it's time for dessert. Yes, my favorite part of eating in general. Great, I'm gonna open this. My hand is oily, so I got it. Thank you so much. What did I say? What's my name?
Oh,
No,
Gail.
chef. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. So, I was talking about cherries before. This is the moment in the universe for cherries. Get them while they're hot right here in Colorado. Honestly, eat them raw all day long. Eat them obviously super fresh. I'm actually gonna steal some of them from you. Oh, look, there's an actual cherry pitter here. That's funny. Only funny because I don't even think I know how to use it. But these are just gorgeous fresh cherries. At their peak, they're so sweet and juicy. And of course, I love eating them fresh, but I also love cooking with them. And I'm gonna make you a little cherry cardamom panna cotta to go after your lamb. Very simple to make. Panna cotta is always one of those dishes people get intimidated by. And often people don't do it well. It's too stiff, it's too soft, it's too loose. There actually is an easy way to make a panna cotta, and the recipe I'm gonna give you, which will be on foodandwine.com later, is pretty much foolproof. I'm gonna start with the base. Now, panna cotta, does anyone know what panna cotta means? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone speak Italian? Cooked cream, thank you. That's what it is, cooked cream. So I'm gonna start with a cup of cream. And I'm gonna make sort of a custard base with it. So I have a cup of cream and a cup of whole milk. It's not, you know, a calorie-free dessert, but who's counting calories? Half cup sugar. It's actually, by the way, super fine sugar. If you don't have super fine sugar, you can absolutely just use regular refined sugar. But this just melts so easily and dissolves really easily, and it's, if you have it or can buy some, it's very easy to use. I'll leave it right here. And then into this mixture, I'm gonna put a vanilla bean. If you don't have a vanilla bean, this is a whole vanilla bean, you can use a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm gonna cut it right down the center like this. And this is what, when you see in a recipe cut and scrape, you wanna cut it down the center, but you don't wanna cut it all the way through because then it becomes two pieces and sort of falls apart. And then I'm gonna take the edge of my knife and scrape right along it. And when you do that, you see you get all those beautiful beans. And that's what you see in ice cream when you see all those tiny little vanilla flecks. I'm gonna put those right in. Right there. But then you want to get them all up. But then for good measure, I'm also going to throw the whole bean in too, because there's so much beautiful flavor. And you're going to be straining this mixture anyway, so you'll strain out the actual bean later. But this way, it's open and exposed. There's a lot of surface area, and you're going to get all the vanilla bean flavor. And vanilla beans are expensive, so if you're going to use it, you want to use it all. And then to that, I'm also going to take a piece of lemon peel. Just use a vegetable peeler, and just take, actually, I prefer to use a, like that, and just peel off just a piece of peel. Not into the other milk mixture, but it's fine. A little piece of peel, that's gonna lend a little bit of acidity, but mostly just the essential oil of the lemon, which is a lovely nuance in the panna cotta. Here's a whisk. I'm gonna give that a little bit of a whisk right there. And then I'm gonna turn it on, bring it to a really gentle simmer. And right before I turn it off to steep it, and make my cherry custard base, I'm gonna take a cup of fresh cherries, just like this, and I'm gonna pit them. Now you can use a fancy pitter if you have one, but really I like treating them sort of like miniature avocados. Just cut around, open it up like this, and take the pit out. A cherry pitter is a lovely ingredient, but I mean a lovely tool in the kitchen, but don't go out and buy one, because you know, your hands are just as good. And you're gonna put a whole bunch of fresh cherries that have just been cut. Are these the fresh ones? Yeah. Are these the fresh ones? I think those are the fresh ones over here. That's okay, no problem. All right, a cup of fresh cherries right in. You're gonna bring this all to a simmer, gentle, gentle simmer, because milk burns really easily and you don't want to do that. And once it comes to a simmer, you're going to give it a little bit of a mix, cover it, take it off the heat, and let it steep for about 10, 15 minutes. Through the magic of television, I happen to have one right here. Through the magic of Colfax, I happen to have one right here. So you can see that it's taken on this gorgeous cherry color, right? This beautiful deep pink, which is what you want. It means that the cherries have bled out into the milk and have flavored the milk. And then to this mixture, I'm going to actually take a packet of gelatin and about a 1/4 cup more milk. I'm just gonna open it up. Don't be intimidated by it. And then whisk it in. And this is what's called blooming your gelatin. So you want the gelatin to react with the water and start being a thickening agent and thicken up this milk. You let it sit for a few minutes, it'll get nice and thick. And then you're gonna pour it right into the hot milk mixture and stir that up together. And then, while it's hot, gelatin will not thicken. It will not solidify this mixture. So the first thing you need to do right after is pour it into ramekins and get it in the fridge. So just stir it up. Thank you very much. Let it sit for a sec. He's very good. Meanwhile, prepare some ramekins. I have these beautiful little Emile Henri ramekins right here. How much time do I have? Anybody know? Great. I love you guys. We're gonna make like 12 more things. Who's hungry? Who needs a drink? Yeah. Oh, great. No, that's perfect. Spray with a little bit of cooking spray, which is just really fine and easy, so that it doesn't stick to the pan. This recipe makes 4, as I said, and it's easy to keep them in this dish because it'll just keep them all together, but obviously they can be done individually. And then, remember I talked about that gorgeous avalanche goat cheese before? Right here. This is a really creamy, great goat cheese. Obviously, you can eat it with anything, savory, sweet, on its own, on a cracker, mixed into a dip. But I'm actually gonna put it into the panna cotta, excuse me, late night. Is there water?
Yes.
I bet there is. I bet there's an enormous amount of water. Thank you, San Pellegrino. So this goat cheese, there's a cup of goat cheese in here. And when it mixes with this beautiful mixture, it's gonna give it this beautiful sort of tart, bright sharpness that will also even out the sweetness of the cherries, of the sugar, mixed with the vanilla bean. And I just think it's a gorgeous combination because as much as I love dessert, and I really love dessert, actually I don't really love sweet desserts. You know, you don't need it to be cloyingly sweet to be a dessert. So I'm gonna pour this mixture right over the goat cheese, which will soften it up. And also, obviously, I'm straining it to take out those cooked cherries. Thank you. Got it?
Yep.
The lemon peel that I put in, the bean, and you can just sort of move them around a bit to make sure you can get all of the liquid out, keeping these solids here. Don't waste a drop. So that's the other thing. Don't waste a drop. And what's the other thing you learned today? Crispy bits. Thank you. You guys are gonna be just fine. Thank you. So now I'm gonna just stir up first to break it up a bit, this creamy rich goat cheese, and then whisk it all together so that it becomes one smooth mixture. Right in here. And it still has that gorgeous pink color that you can see. I wonder where the saxophone and the trumpet went. So you give that a mix, make sure it's smooth. It should really smooth out very easily because your mixture is still so warm. The gelatin hasn't started working yet and thickening too much. And then, easy as pie or panna cotta, you're just gonna pour it right into the ramekins that you prepared. Any questions up to this point? Everybody good? Everyone with me? Everyone awake? Yes, thank you. It's gonna go right in. You can fill them really up to the top. There's some lumps in here, but I'm rushing because I don't want you guys here all day. but ultimately it's very easy to make it smooth. And then these get put into the fridge, and you need to chill them down, and that's how they're going to thicken up. Thank you, sir. They usually take about 4 hours to thicken and chill down completely. If you want to make them the night before, they'll obviously chill overnight. They'll keep for about 3 days like this. So this is also a great dessert to make for a dinner party or when you're having people over because it's so done and out of the way. And then you have this big reveal moment when you invert them, which we hope works in a minute. And you serve them to your guests. Hold, please. All right. While they're chilling, I'm going to make a little soup. A cherry soup. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to make sort of a clear, really beautiful cherry and cardamom soup, which I actually love to use for a million different things. With the cherries that you're going to cook in it, you can put them on yogurt, granola, mix them in with over ice cream. It's like the simplest sort of immediate sauce. So I'm going to start with some wine. This is a Moscato. It's a sweet wine. So you can really use any sweet wine. I'm just going to keep pouring for a while because why not, right? We're at the Classic in Aspen, for God's sakes. I'll spare you what I really want to do, which is drink it out of the bottle because my mom would kill me. And to it, I'm going to add lots of cooked cherries, like this. Lots of fresh cherries. Here we go. Same, just pitted cherries that I've taken out and put right in here. Oh, here they were. We have extra cooked. All right, so fresh cherries here. A little bit of sugar. And I'm going to give that a mix. And then I'm going to bring this to a simmer, and I'm going to let it cook. Hear that? Everything okay? Yeah, it's all good. Oh, you don't even have to bother turning it on. I'm going to let this steep the same way I did with the cream. You're going to actually let it cook out and reduce a little bit, get the alcohol out of it, about 10 minutes. Then let it sit for about 10 minutes, and that's basically your soup. Then you're going to strain it, which I can do right here. Oh, sorry, I'm going to add a little water. Add water. So it's water, wine, sugar, cherries. Yes? Okay. And once it's steeped for a little while, 10 minutes to get all those flavors to come together, you're just going to strain it and strain out those beautiful cherries. But this time you're going to keep the cherries, not discard them the way you did earlier. So and then you're going to, this is still warm, remember, because I just steeped it. You're going to put them both in the fridge. You can put this in a little bowl on the side, put them both in the fridge, and let them cool down completely. Put this here. Now, obviously, that color isn't very dark because I didn't let it seep and reduce, but this is what it should look like. It's that beautiful cherry color, and it's super clear and delicious. The last thing I'm going to do is, right before I actually put it in the fridge, which I forgot to do, so I can do that now, is put in a little bit of cardamom. Obviously, if you don't like cardamom, you don't have to do it. You could use vanilla. You could use nothing at all. There's plenty of flavor in here. When I first made this recipe, I didn't do anything to it, but then I made it for a dinner party, and the chef I was working with added the cardamom, and I thought, oh my God, it's so genius, cherries and cardamom, delicious. So just a pinch, like a half a teaspoon, whisk it right in, and then let it chill. And that's gonna give it a beautiful, warm spice, another layer of flavor. So you chill it in the fridge, it comes out, you have your cherries, and you have your soup. And now is the reveal, the big moment. Oh, thank you. So these come out of the fridge cold, and they're kind of going to be stuck in there. And I'm going to show you this, and it might work, and if it doesn't work, I'll show you how to make it work. Panna cotta, totally solid. It's like a magic trick, but it's not. This is just chemistry. I'm going to run a paring knife really gently right around the edge. Let's take it out. God, there's a lot of tension in the air. So if that happens, bring a little bowl I happen to have right here, a little pot of water to a simmer, turn it off, and just put it in here for a minute. And that should soften it up. And if it doesn't, you're totally screwed. That really should be all it needs. As we suspected, not graceful. Hold on. There we go. No, I did it. There you go. I have made this before, I swear to God. And then you're just gonna finish it with this beautiful little soup right here. Pour it around the edge. And then these beautiful cooked cherries that you reserved, you can just put them over here on the side, divide them in the bowls. And then I like to finish it. Wow, you read my mind, Colfax. I appreciate it. I pay him to say that too. No. I like to just chop a little bit of mint really finely. Chiffonade the mint, actually, or whatever you're doing is perfect. Beautiful. Thank you very much. She's got skills, people. Put that just right over the top of those cherries. And there you go. It's like spring in a bowl. I'm just going to do a little chefy fix over here because I don't like seeing that. And there you go. Cherry panna cotta. Who wants a taste? You want to come have a bite? Come on. No judging. There you go. No problem. There you go. So that's it. Thanks, guys. How'd it go? Oh, thank you. Could you imagine if she was like, oh my God, this is terrible?
It's amazing, all the flavors.
There you go. Oh, well, enjoy. Any questions? Any last thoughts? You can spit at me. I don't know, whatever you need. Yes. Can you guys bring the lights up just half a centimeter so I can see the audience a little bit? Go ahead. You certainly could. I mean, you're taking your life in your hands with trying to invert it. But you absolutely could. I mean, I wouldn't make them too huge because then the only way to eat them is to sort of slice them and it'll just kind of make a mess. But the other thing you can also do is keep them in the bowls and you can just pour a little of the soup right on top, some cherries on top, and eat them more like a pot de creme. You know, just spoon them right out of those little bowls. Making, the bigger it gets, because you really want that soft, delicate texture, it'll just become a little more unruly. It'll taste great, but you know, cutting it, serving it will get a little messy. Yeah. Go ahead, the back. You know, if you're you don't really for their purposes, but the fridge has a lot of smells, and if there's a lot of other things in there, it's probably best just to wrap them in saran. Yeah. Let them cool a little bit first, and then wrap them to leave them if you're leaving them overnight. Or for a few days, yeah, because you don't want to take them to take on the garlic and the other scents of your refrigerator. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, good question. So we're finishing it literally this week, and I think it should air in the late fall. So end of November, beginning of December. I don't have an exact date, but Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, only on Bravo. Yeah. It takes about 6 weeks of actual active production. We started May 5th, and we finished June 21st. And that's generally how long it's taken for a long time. Every season's been a bit different. Sometimes we have 15 episodes. We once had 18 episodes. This season, I think, is 14 episodes. So it's about 6 weeks almost every single day. We have a few dark days. It's kind of 6 days on, 1 day off. Our crew doesn't even often get a day off. Remember, it's reality, so you can't just like stop down for a week and let the contestants hang out or go home. It has to be shot all at once. So we shoot every single day pretty much for 6 weeks, and then it's done, and it's once a year. It's great. Yeah, sir?
What happens to all the food that's cooked up there over the last couple of days?
In Aspen?
Yeah, right
Do you mean right now, this food? We have a team of 30 culinary crew, and they are hungry. This is Colfax and Amy's lunch, and probably mine. Nothing goes to waste. We also repurpose and use a lot of the same ingredients for a lot of demos. So the Classic in Aspen is actually really conscientious about recyclability. If you notice when you go into the grand tasting tents later, there's a compost bin, there's a recycling bin, and there are volunteers at every station to make sure you're putting the right thing everywhere. We have almost a zero waste policy at the Classic, so we're pretty proud of it. And we have really big appetites. Yeah, I love how many questions you guys have.
It's not a question.
Okay.
I just want to say you just like you are on Top Chef.
Oh, thank you. So I'm a total bitch, that's what you're saying? No. Thank you. I love what I do. So I hope that comes across. Yeah.
What's your favorite dish that you've been served on Top Chef?
Oh, God. This is a tricky question, mostly because I have no brain these days. I had a child 3 years ago, and it all fell out at once. I mean, we've done 15 seasons of Top Chef. I did 4 seasons of Top Chef Masters, 2 seasons of just desserts, a season of Top Chef Duels. P.S. Top Chef Juniors is happening this coming year, which is really exciting. So I can't even tell you how many dishes I've eaten. I mean, it's sort of awful and terrifying if you think about it. Most of it's been pretty good. It's hard to say what the dish has been. Every season there's 4 or 5 dishes that are extraordinary. And they come not always at the finale or not always, from the chefs you think. So I always remember a few, and actually my new book, a lot of the recipes in there came from moments on Top Chef or traveling with the chefs I work with or, visiting friends and chefs and being inspired by an ingredient or a combination that they put together that I then figured out, well, how do I do this at home or how do I bring this home? And there's been so many great dishes. One dish I think about a lot that I come back to time and again that I had on Top Chef was in season, I want to say 9, we went to Texas. Anyone from Texas? Oh, yeah, nice. We went to Texas, and Paul Key was our winner that year. And Paul made a dish sort of 3 episodes before the finale where they had to cook for their mentors. And all of their mentors came to dinner, the chefs who had guided them in their lives. And they had to make a dish. And when his came to the table, he had taken sort of ribbons of raw vegetables and set them out in a bowl. That's all it was. And then he came around with a sunchoke and dashi soup that he had made and poured the soup into those raw vegetables. It was the simplest thing. I remember looking up at Tom and thinking, is this a joke? I mean, this is what he made for his mentor. He made like a vegetable puree over like a ribbon of carrot. Come on. I soon learned never to underestimate Paul Key. It was just one of the simplest, most beautiful, savory, delicious things I've ever eaten. I mean, it had so much flavor and it had crunch from those I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. And I have never second-guessed him since.
Gail.
Yes. Hi. Yeah, last question.
Yes. So what about the classics? Since you spent a lot of time
Yes.
planning, what's the classic doing now that they weren't doing when you were
Oh, sure.
that you absolutely love?
So much. So much. Did anyone do the 5K yesterday morning? Nice. Thank you. That should have been more of you, but I'll let it slide. It was actually the first year that I couldn't do the 5K because I had to shoot Top Chef yesterday. But the 5K charity run, I'm super proud of. I can't believe they somehow figured out in the middle of a food and wine festival where everyone is drunk and eating to get people up at 7 in the morning to run 5K at 10,000 feet the day after they arrive. But it's all for charity for Wholesome Wave, and I think that's an amazing initiative that they do. I would just say, I mean, now the wine seminars have just gotten so much better, so much more exhaustive. I mean, the talent here is incredible. I really love that there's this next generation of chefs who are coming up and doing really cool things now. It used to be sort of like the same 6 people because years ago, celebrity chefs weren't really a thing. People didn't know the breadths of chefs they knew now. They knew like those 5 or 6, mostly men, who were saying catchphrases and doing other things, and I love them all. But it's just nice to see now that I think our audience, the classic audience, the food and wine audience, the Top Chef audience, has so much knowledge about the food world that we can reach so deep into the the chef talent, the wine talent, the mixology. I mean, there's a whole cocktail program here and cocktail seminars that weren't happening when I was running the show. So it's incredible. And the town of Aspen, I mean, it doesn't get uglier. Let's just be clear. It's just every time I come here, my breath is taken away. I think that's all the time we have. I'm doing a book signing right now in the Grand Tasting at 11:30. So if you have a question or we didn't get to chat or you just want to come say hi, please come visit me. Have a great classic in Aspen. Thank you, guys.